Hey guys, Scott Brackett here. I got a couple of questions about how to do different functions on the QY, so I'm going to combine a couple of those questions into one video. I'm going to do a really quick tutorial on how to set up an arpeggio in the step editor, and then I'm also going to show you how to crescendo the volume of anything, but I'll do it on that same arpeggio. So I've got a blank pattern here, just to start us all the way from the top. Turn it on once the awesome splash screen does its thing. Which, by the way, boot up time in 3 seconds. It's pretty rad still. Okay, so hit pattern, and then if you had just pulled this up, it would probably still be on the default stuff, the default patterns. So you'll either want to hit up 128 times or hold down on shift and then hit up to get into the user patterns, or user styles, I think they call it. And so this one is blank. I've already cleared this one out. So let's go to the bass. Yeah, I'll play it up high. So real quick, let me show you if I wanted to change that up, like I will go to if I hold down shift and do increment, I can switch through sounds by section. So there we go. So we'll take a little square lead, and so what I do to get step sequencing in, or to go into step sequencing mode, you hit the record button, and then there's a little context menu before you hit play to start the recording, because in normal circumstances it'd probably be set to overdub over here. It'll start beeping, it'll count you in. But if you hit record and instead of hitting play, you hit step, and it's going to take you into the step editor. So what I'm going to do, because we're going to be talking about crescendo, I want to show you something specific. Part of the reason sometimes you do a crescendo and it doesn't do anything is that you need to have the notes that are in there already at less than full velocity. So if you start out by default, when you're just playing notes or programming them, the velocity setting up here, I think by default it's at full. So that means if you were to do a crescendo, it's already at full volume, so there's nowhere to crescendo. You can decrescendo, you can have it draw a curve where it gets quieter and quieter, but you can't crescendo. And then you may or may not know, but once you change the velocity all the way up to full, after that there are 4 random settings, and I believe R1 is the one with the least amount of variation, and as you go up, it's greater. There's a greater difference in the actual velocities, like it'll go through a wider range from 70 to 127 or something like that. But note that velocity amount isn't the same when you're using the step editor. So if I hit record, have it set to step, and then hit play, there's another little velocity setting here that you can set specific to that. And I think when you leave, oh no, it's the same. Well, anyways, it is the same. Just remember to set it before you go in, or when you're in there, set it afterwards. But regardless, if you're going to do a crescendo, you know you want it to get quieter and then louder throughout the measure, or throughout the pattern. Then make sure to start at the volume that you want to start at. So let's do. Oop, I'm in the drum channel. So I'm going to use back delete to delete those. Hit stop. Go to the correct channel. Yeah, I put it on the bass this time. Yeah, so notice I turned the velocity way down, so it's a lot quieter now. Just in general. Okay, hit record, hit play, and I've got it set to 16th note, which is fine. Just keep going. Okay, so with the step editor, be mindful that it's a polyphonic step editor, so if you hit multiple notes at one time, it will program those notes into that one step. Like here we've just got single notes, because that's what I was playing, but if we wanted to add a chord at the top of it, we could go, and now that's stuck in there. So, and I'm just incrementing through the pattern using the little arrow buttons. So to get out of step mode, editing mode, you hit stop. And now we should have a little arpeggio pattern. Yeah, with a little chord at the top. So if we want that to crescendo, let's now go to menu and then job and option number 4, which is crescendo, hit enter. And from here, we are going to leave it for the whole measure. Actually, I'm going to do beat 2 because I don't want it to start crescendoing until after that chord has happened, and that's right on the 1 for this bit. And then I'm going to increase it by 60, and instead of just holding this and going all the way to 60, I'm going to enter the number in. So I'm going to hold shift and push 6, 0, and you see that's flashing. So that's if I hit enter, I will apply that value to this field, but not actually do the crescendo thing. So now that that's not flashing anymore, I hit enter again, and it will actually perform the crescendo. So we should hear the chord at the lower volume, and then from there the volume will steadily increase till the end of the measure. So there we go. So let's say we want it to increase and then decrease. So let's count this out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it gets its loudest about halfway through the second measure. So let's say we want it to decrescendo at the end so that it gets, like, we've already got this crescendo curve drawn. Let's do it crescendo and then decrescendo from there. So we'll do, from the top. From the main sort of pattern screen, if you hit menu, then job, and go to crescendo, and we'll start it, instead of measure 1 beat 2, we're going to do measure 2 beat 2 to measure 2 beat 4. So just the second half of the second measure, really. And for range, I'm actually going to put in a negative value because I want it to decrease. So I'm going to hold down shift and push, oops, that's not quite on the screen. There's a little button here that's positive, negative, and if you push that, you can actually enter in negative values. So you push that first while holding shift. You gotta, let me just start that over. So you hold shift, press this little key here. Oops, first I gotta get in the edit screen. Hold shift, press this key, and then punch in the number, and because it's still flashing, that means we're editing that value. Hit enter to confirm that that's what you want, and notice now it says negative 60 instead of positive 60. So now I'm going to hit enter, and what it should do is, on top of the crescendo that we've drawn, it's also going to decrease the volume ahead of before the measure starts over, just right in the second half of the second measure. So let's hear. There you go. So you can hear it gets. So that's pretty much it. The biggest trick with the velocity, or the biggest trick with the crescendo curve thing, is that you have to start. If you're going to be adding values, you need to start at your lowest value when you're writing the notes, and when you want to decrescendo, you need to be starting at your highest value. So I hope that's helpful, and yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments or anything, put them down in the comment section, and if this was helpful for you, please click like, and if you want to see more of this stuff, click subscribe. Alright, talk to y'all later.